Audiobook The Ashes of the Old Man by the Third Library. Introduction. The Renovation Trap. Imagine standing before a house that has been infested with termites for decades. The foundation crumbles beneath the weight of rot, the beams hollow with decay, and the very structure groans under the burden of its own corruption. Now imagine someone hands you a paintbrush and tells you this is how you fix it. Paint the walls a cheerful yellow, arrange some flowers in the kitchen, buy new curtains. This is the absurdity of most self-improvement advice. You are being sold paint for a house that should be condemned. The truth that no one wants to tell you is this: you cannot renovate a structure built on a rotten foundation. You cannot improve a self that was constructed from trauma, fear, scarcity, and shame. You can read all the positive affirmations you want, adopt all the morning routines, journal until your hand cramps, but if the foundation of your identity is fundamentally flawed, the house will collapse. It is not a matter of if, but when. Most people spend their entire lives in this renovation trap. They sense something is wrong, deeply wrong, but they have been convinced that the solution is incremental improvement. Add a habit here, remove a limiting belief there, perhaps hire a life coach to help you rearrange the furniture. Meanwhile, the termites continue their work in the darkness, and the foundation continues to crumble beneath your feet. This audiobook is not about renovation. It is about demolition. It is about taking a wrecking ball to the condemned structure of your current identity and building something entirely new from the ground up. It is about recognizing that the person you currently are, the old man as we will call him, cannot be saved. He cannot be improved. He can only be evicted, demolished, and returned to ash. The old man is the accumulation of every defense mechanism you developed to survive a world that hurt you. He is the identity you constructed when you were young and afraid and powerless. He is the beliefs you inherited from people who were themselves broken. He is the story you tell yourself about who you are, what you deserve, and what is possible for you. And he is wrong. But here is the problem. The old man does not want to die. He will fight you with everything he has. He will convince you that change is dangerous, that you are fine as you are, that the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. He will sabotage every attempt you make to evolve beyond him, because to him, evolution feels like extinction. And in a sense, it is. This is why self-improvement feels like drowning. You are not actually trying to improve yourself. You are trying to murder the version of yourself that currently exists and replace him with someone else entirely. Your brain does not understand the difference between personal growth and personal death. They register the same on the survival circuitry. So let us be clear about what this audiobook is. It is a guide to psychological demolition. It is a manual for killing the old man without destroying yourself in the process. It is the art of creative destruction applied to the self. You will learn how to burn down everything you currently are so that something better can rise from the ashes. The metaphor of the phoenix is ancient because the pattern is eternal. Nothing truly transforms without first being destroyed. The caterpillar does not become a butterfly through gradual improvement. It dissolves into biological soup inside the cocoon before reconstructing itself as something entirely new. This is not a gentle process. It is violent, messy, and terrifying. But it is also necessary, because you have tried the other way, haven't you? You have tried to be better while remaining fundamentally the same. You have tried to add positive habits to a life built on negative foundations. You have tried to think yourself into a new reality while clinging to an old identity. And it has not worked. It cannot work. The architecture does not allow it. The ashes of the old man is structured around a simple truth. Identity is not discovered, it is constructed. You are not uncovering your true self buried beneath layers of conditioning. You are demolishing a false self and building a new one from scratch. This is not a journey of self-discovery. It is a journey of self-creation. In the chapters that follow, you will learn why your brain fights change so viciously, how to conduct a psychological funeral for your current self, how to survive the void between identities, what you must sacrifice to truly transform, how to architect a new self from nothing, how to endure the imposter phase, how to manipulate your environment to support the new identity, how to pass the final tests that will determine if the transformation is real, and how to reach the state of being. unrecognizable to your former self. This is not a book for people who want to be slightly better versions of themselves. This is a book for people who are ready to become someone else entirely. Someone who their current self would not recognize. Someone who their current self might even fear or resent. This is for those who are ready to burn. The old man must die. Not metaphorically, not eventually. Now, completely, irrevocably. Only then can the work of resurrection begin. Only then can you become the person you were meant to be, rather than the person you were forced to become. Welcome to the pyre. The flames are waiting. Chapter 1. The Ego's Survival Instinct. When you decide to change, something inside you begins to scream. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself with words. Instead, it manifests as a sudden surge of anxiety when you open the laptop to work on your business. It appears as inexplicable fatigue when you try to go to the gym. It shows up as a desperate craving for the very habits you swore you would quit. This is not weakness. This is not lack of willpower. This is your ego activating its survival protocols. To understand why change feels like dying, you must first understand what identity means to the brain. Your brain does not care about your happiness, your success, or your self-actualization. Your brain cares about one thing, keeping you alive, and to your brain, your identity is the primary survival mechanism. Your identity determines what you do, where you go, who you interact with, and what risks you take. Your identity is the operating system that has kept you alive this long. When you attempt to change your identity, your brain interprets this as a threat to survival. It does not matter that your current identity is making you miserable. It does not matter that your current identity is keeping you poor, lonely, and depressed. What matters is that this identity is familiar, and familiar equals safe. Your brain has survival data for this identity. It knows how to keep this version of you alive. A new identity is uncharted territory, and uncharted territory is where predators hide. This is why people self-sabotage. A person decides they are going to become wealthy, and for a few weeks they work diligently toward that goal. Then suddenly they make a catastrophically bad financial decision that wipes out their progress. Or they start a fight with a supportive partner. Or they develop a mysterious illness that prevents them from working. These are not coincidences. These are surgical strikes from the ego designed to return you to homeostasis. The ego's job is to maintain equilibrium. When you were a child, you developed certain beliefs about yourself based on your environment. Perhaps you learned that you were not smart enough, not attractive enough, not worthy of love. These beliefs were not chosen. They were installed like software. And once installed, they became the foundation of your identity. The ego built an entire protective structure around these beliefs. Now you are an adult and you want to change those beliefs. You want to believe you are intelligent, attractive, and worthy of love. But the ego sees this as a hostile takeover. It sees this as someone trying to delete the core programming that has governed your survival for decades. So it fights back. It creates anxiety to make you retreat. It creates brain fog to prevent you from thinking clearly. It creates physical symptoms to force you to rest. It resurrects old traumas to remind you why you cannot change. This resistance is not a bug in the system. It is the system working exactly as designed. The ego is not evil. It is not trying to ruin your life. It is trying to save your life using outdated information. It is operating from the belief that any deviation from the known path leads to danger. And in the ancestral environment where your brain evolved, this was often true. Experimentation could get you killed. Conformity kept you alive. But you do not live in the ancestral environment. You live in a modern world where the greatest danger is not physical death, but psychological stagnation. In this world, staying the same is what kills you. It kills you slowly through depression, addiction, and regret. But your ego does not understand this. Your ego is still running ancient software in a digital age. So when you decide to change, expect war. Expect the ego to deploy every weapon in its arsenal. It will remind you of every past failure. It will magnify every current obstacle. It will whisper that you are not ready, that you need more preparation, that you should start next week instead. It will create elaborate fantasies of what could go wrong. It will make you suddenly care deeply about tasks that you have ignored for months, anything to distract you from the change you are attempting. Understanding this mechanism is the first step to defeating it. When you feel resistance, do not interpret it as a sign that you are on the wrong path. Interpret it as a sign that you are on the right path. Resistance is the ego's death rattle. It only fights this hard when it senses that the change is real, that the old man is actually in danger of being evicted. Resistance is proof that you are doing something significant. The key is to recognize the resistance without obeying it. When the anxiety comes, name it. This is my ego trying to keep me safe. When the procrastination comes, name it. This is my ego trying to preserve the status quo. When the self-doubt comes, name it. This is my ego trying to talk me out of transformation. By naming it, you create separation. You are no longer identified with the resistance. You are the observer of the resistance. This separation is critical because it allows you to act despite the fear. The fear does not go away. It should not go away. Fear is information. But information is not instruction. You can acknowledge that you are afraid and still choose to move forward. You can acknowledge that your ego is screaming and still choose to ignore it. This is the beginning of true power. Most people never reach this point because they mistake the ego's resistance for their own authentic voice. They feel anxiety and think, I must not be ready. They feel doubt and think, maybe this is not for me. They feel exhaustion and think, my body is telling me to rest. But these are not messages from your authentic self. These are messages from the old man who is fighting for his life. The old man knows that if you succeed in this transformation, he will cease to exist, and that is intolerable to him. So he will use every psychological trick to convince you to stay. He will make you nostalgic for the past. He will make you cynical about the future. He will make you comfortable in the present. He will do anything except let you leave. But you are not obligated to listen. You are not obligated to obey. The ego is loud, but it is not in charge unless you give it authority. You have the power to acknowledge its fear and proceed anyway. You have the power to feel the resistance and push through it. You have the power to endure the discomfort of change until the ego realizes that the new identity is not going to kill you. This is the first great lesson. Resistance is not a stop sign. It is a confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. The louder the ego screams, the closer you are to breakthrough. The more intense the self-sabotage, the more threatened the old man feels. This is good. This means he can sense his own mortality. This means the demolition has begun. Do not fight the resistance. Do not try to eliminate it. Simply see it for what it is, the thrashing of a drowning man. The old man is going under, and he is grabbing at anything to stay afloat. Let him grab. Let him thrash. But do not let him pull you back down with him. You are the lifeboat, not the anchor. In the chapters ahead, you will learn specific techniques for managing this resistance, but for now, simply understand the mechanism. Change feels like dying because to the ego it is dying. Your job is not to make it painless. Your job is to survive it. The ego will not go quietly. It will rage and bargain and beg. But its time is over. The old man has had his turn, and he has led you to exactly where you are now. If you want to be somewhere else, someone else must take the wheel. And that someone is waiting to be born from the ashes of the one who currently drives. Chapter 2. The Funeral Ritual. There is an ancient wisdom in funeral rites that modern psychology has forgotten. When someone dies, we do not simply acknowledge it intellectually and move on. We gather. We speak about the deceased. We honor what they were. We grieve what they will never be. We perform rituals that mark the boundary between the world with them and the world without them. These rituals serve a purpose. They signal to the subconscious that a chapter has irrevocably closed. They make the abstract concept of death concrete and undeniable. You need to hold a funeral for your current self. Not a metaphorical one that you perform half-heartedly in your thoughts, but a real ritual with physical components that your nervous system can register. The old man has been with you for years, perhaps decades. He has protected you, even if his methods were flawed. He has survived situations that could have destroyed you. He deserves a proper goodbye before he is sent into the fire. The funeral ritual begins with a eulogy. You are going to write an honest obituary for the person you currently are. Not the person you pretend to be, not the person you wish you were, but the person you actually are right now. This requires brutal honesty. It requires you to look at yourself without the softening filter of self-deception. Sit down with paper and pen, not a computer. This must be done by hand. The physical act of writing creates a different neural pathway than typing. Begin with the phrase, "Here lies," followed by your name. Then describe this person truthfully. What were their fears? What limited them? What stories did they tell themselves? What did they believe they were incapable of? What patterns kept repeating in their life? This is not an exercise in self-hatred. You are not attacking yourself. You are simply documenting who you have been with the same detached clarity you would use to describe a character in a novel. Here lies John, who believed he was not smart enough to succeed, who sabotaged relationships before they could reject him, who stayed in jobs he hated because change felt too dangerous, who numbed himself with substances because feeling was too intense, who told everyone he was fine while slowly drowning. Write everything. Every pattern you recognize, every limitation you have accepted as permanent, every excuse you have used, every way you have made yourself small. This is the archaeological dig of your own psyche. You are excavating the old man from the sediment of years, and what you excavate you will burn. The eulogy should be substantial. This is not a few sentences. This is a comprehensive portrait of the person who has lived your life until this moment. Write about their relationships. Write about their career. Write about their health. Write about their inner world. Write about the gap between what they wanted and what they settled for. Write until you have captured the essence of the old man completely. Then comes the second part, the reading. You must read this eulogy aloud, not whispered, not in your head, aloud, as if you were speaking at an actual funeral. Your voice gives the words weight. Your ears hearing your voice creates a feedback loop that imprints the message deeper than reading silently ever could. Stand if you can. Make it formal. This is ceremony, and ceremony changes consciousness. As you read, you may feel grief. Good. That is appropriate. You're saying goodbye to someone who has been with you a long time, even if that someone was dysfunctional, even if that someone caused you pain. They were still yours. They were still the one who got you to today. Let yourself feel the sadness of this ending. Let yourself acknowledge that this version of you will never exist again, but do not let the grief stop you. After the reading comes the burning. Take the pages of the eulogy and burn them. If you have access to a fireplace or fire pit, use that. If not, a metal bowl or even a sink will work. The point is to physically destroy the document while watching it happen. As the paper blackens and curls and turns to ash, visualize the old man being consumed by the same flames. Fire is the great transformer. It takes solid matter and converts it to heat, light, and ash. It is irreversible. Once something has been burned, it cannot be unburned. This is why fire has been used in rituals across every culture throughout history. Fire marks permanent change. By burning the eulogy, you are telling your subconscious that this identity cannot be retrieved. It is not on pause. It is not dormant. It is destroyed. Watch the flames. Do not rush this part. As each page burns, repeat silently or aloud, "The old man is dead. The old man is ash." Let this become a mantra. Let it sink beneath your conscious mind into the deeper layers where identity lives. You are performing psychodrama, and psychodrama works because the subconscious cannot distinguish between symbol and reality. To your deeper mind, you have just performed an actual funeral. After the burning, take the ashes. If you are outdoors, scatter them. Let the wind take them. If you are indoors, flush them or dispose of them with intention. The ashes must be removed from your space. They cannot stay. This physical removal completes the ritual. The old man is not just dead, he is gone. There is no body to resurrect. Some people find this ritual disturbing. They resist the idea of being so dramatic. But this resistance is itself telling. It means you are still clinging to the old man, still hoping you can take pieces of him with you into the new life. You cannot. This is the hard truth. You cannot selectively preserve parts of an identity. Identity is holistic. If you keep one piece, you keep the structure. If you keep the structure, you keep the prison. The funeral ritual works because it bypasses the rational mind and speaks directly to the limbic system. Your rational mind might understand intellectually that you want to change, but your limbic system, the ancient part of your brain that governs emotion and survival, does not understand intellectual concepts. It understands rituals, symbols, and physical actions. By performing this ceremony, you are communicating change in a language the limbic system comprehends. After the ritual, you may feel empty. You may feel strange, unmoored, uncertain. This is correct. You have just killed your identity without replacing it yet. You are in the gap, the void between selves. Most people panic at this stage and immediately try to resurrect the old man or grab onto a new identity before they are ready. Do not do this. The void has a purpose, and we will explore it in the next chapter. For now, simply understand that the funeral ritual is not optional. You cannot skip it. You cannot do it mentally. It must be physical. It must be ceremonial. It must be witnessed by your own senses. Your eyes must see the flames. Your hands must hold the ashes. Your voice must speak the eulogy. This is how you make death real. In the days after the ritual, you may find yourself wanting to talk about the old man in present tense. You may catch yourself slipping back into old patterns and justifying them with old stories. When this happens, remind yourself, that person is dead. I held his funeral. I burned his eulogy. He no longer exists. This firm stance is necessary. Grief is allowed. Resurrection is not. The funeral is the doorway. On one side is the life you have lived. On the other side is the life you will create. But you cannot walk through while carrying the old man on your back. He must be left behind. He must be properly buried. Only then can you step through the doorway into the void, where the work of creation begins. Prepare for the ritual with reverence. This is sacred work, even if it feels uncomfortable. You are not simply changing habits. You are performing a death and preparing for a resurrection. Treat it with the gravity it deserves. The funeral ritual is the moment you stop being who you were. What comes next is the moment you start becoming who you will be. Chapter 3. The Void of Transition. After the funeral, you enter the void. This is the hallway between rooms, the space between death and rebirth, the moment when you are no longer who you were, but not yet who you will be. It is disorienting. It is uncomfortable. It is necessary. The void is where most transformations fail, not because people lack capability, but because they lack tolerance for emptiness. The void feels like numbness. You wake up and do not know who you are. The old motivations no longer compel you. The old pleasures no longer satisfy you. The old fears no longer have power. But the new motivations have not arrived. The new pleasures are still unknown. The new identity has not solidified. You are in liminal space, neither here nor there, and your mind desperately wants to resolve this ambiguity. This desperation to escape the void is what causes relapse. A person burns down their old life, experiences a few days or weeks of this emptiness, and then panics. They think something has gone wrong. They think they have made a mistake. They think they were happier before. So they run back to the old identity like a prisoner returning to their cell, because at least the cell was familiar. At least in the cell they knew who they were. But the void is not a malfunction. It is a feature. It is the psychological equivalent of the caterpillar's liquefaction inside the cocoon. Everything must dissolve before it can reconfigure. You cannot become a butterfly while maintaining the structure of a caterpillar. There must be a phase where you are neither, where you are just biological soup, formless and undefined. This is terrifying if you are the caterpillar, but it is necessary if you want to fly. The first thing you must understand about the void is that feeling lost is not evidence that you are lost. It is evidence that you are in transition. Your brain is recalibrating. Your nervous system is adjusting to operating without the old identity as a reference point. Your sense of self is being rebuilt from the ground up. This process takes time and it does not feel good, but feeling bad does not mean you are doing it wrong. In the void, you will experience depersonalization. You will look in the mirror and feel like you are looking at a stranger. You will hear your own voice and it will sound unfamiliar. You will move through your daily routines and feel like you are watching someone else's life. This is not psychosis. This is the natural result of killing an identity before the new one has fully formed. You are currently wearing no mask at all, and it feels naked and wrong because you have never existed without a mask before. Most people interpret this depersonalization as depression and immediately seek to medicate it away, either through substances or through frantic activity or through crawling back to the old identity. Do not do this. Sit in the depersonalization. Let yourself be no one for a while. This is the void space where creation happens. Artists call it the blank canvas. Writers call it the empty page. Mystics call it the dark night of the soul. It is the same phenomenon, the dissolution that precedes creation. In the void, you will also experience purposelessness. The goals that motivated you before now seem hollow. The dreams you chased feel borrowed from someone else. You might find yourself unable to answer basic questions like, what do I want? Or what makes me happy? This is because those questions were always answered by the old man, and the old man is dead. The new man has not yet developed preferences. He is still being assembled. This purposelessness will make you feel lazy or depressed or broken. You are none of these things. You are simply in the construction phase. Buildings look chaotic when they are being built. There is rubble and scaffolding and exposed beams. It does not look like a building yet. It looks like a disaster. But this chaos is temporary. Structure is emerging. You just cannot see it yet because you are standing too close. The void is also where your addictions will speak loudest. Whatever you used to numb yourself before, whatever you used to avoid feeling, it will call to you with renewed intensity. This is because the void is pure feeling. It is raw sensation without the buffer of identity. The old man provided insulation. He gave you a role to play, a script to follow, a way to not be present. Now you are present, and presence is uncomfortable when you are not used to it. Resist the urge to fill the void prematurely. Do not immediately grab a new identity off the shelf like a coat at a store. Do not declare yourself a new person and start performing that person before you have actually become them. This is a common mistake. People think they can skip the void by simply putting on a new costume, but a costume is not a skin. It will slip off at the first sign of stress, and you will find yourself right back where you started. Instead, let yourself be empty. Let yourself not know. Let yourself exist in the question without rushing to an answer. This is incredibly difficult in a culture that demands you have your identity figured out. When someone asks, "What do you do?" or "Who are you?" you want to have an answer. But in the void, the honest answer is, "I don't know yet." And that is okay. In fact, it is more than okay. It is holy. The void is the womb. It is dark and confined and fluid. It is not a place you would choose to stay forever, but it is necessary for gestation. You cannot rush a pregnancy. You cannot force a seed to sprout faster by yelling at it. Growth has its own timeline, and the void is the incubation period for the new self. Respect the process. Trust the emptiness. It is doing its work even when it feels like nothing is happening. To survive the void, you need anchors, not identity anchors, but somatic anchors. Physical practices that ground you in your body when your mind is spinning in existential confusion. Breathwork, walking, swimming, lifting weights. Anything that reminds you that you exist in a body, that you are a biological creature, that you are more than the thoughts in your head. These practices also serve another purpose. They establish continuity. Even though your identity is in flux, your body continues, your breath continues, your heartbeat continues. By anchoring to these physical constants, you create a thread of continuity through the chaos. You are not completely dissolving. Something of you remains. The body is the bridge between the old man and the new man. In the void, time will feel strange. Some days will stretch endlessly. Others will disappear in a blur. This is because your relationship to time is tied to your identity. The old man had a certain pace, a certain rhythm. Without him, time loses its familiar texture. Do not be alarmed by this. Simply notice it. Your temporal sense will recalibrate once the new identity forms. You will also find that your relationships shift during the void. Some people will be disturbed by your emptiness. They will try to pull you back to who you were because that person was predictable. Other people will be intrigued. They will sense something happening even if they cannot name it. Pay attention to who wants you to stay empty and who wants you to fill the space quickly. This information is valuable. The void typically lasts longer than you want it to. There is no fixed timeline. Some people move through it in weeks, others take months. A rare few remain there for years, though this usually means they are resisting the next phase. The void is not meant to be a permanent home. It is meant to be a transitional space, but you cannot rush it. You can only endure it. Toward the end of the void, you will feel stirrings, small impulses that feel different from the old impulses, curiosities that do not seem to belong to the person you were. These are the first signals from the new self. They are tentative, fragile, easy to dismiss. Do not dismiss them. Follow them gently. See where they lead. These small threads of new desire are how the new man announces his arrival. The void ends not with a dramatic revelation, but with a subtle shift. One day you will realize you have started making decisions from a new place. You will notice that you are no longer asking, "What would the old man do?" You will catch yourself operating from instinct that feels unfamiliar but right. This is the sign that you have passed through. The void has served its purpose. The new man is beginning to wake, but we are not there yet. Right now, if you have performed the funeral ritual correctly, you are in the thick of it. You are uncomfortable. You are uncertain. You are tempted to go back. Do not go back. There is nothing back there for you except the prison you already escaped. Stay in the void. Stand in the emptiness. Be no one for as long as it takes. This is the sacred work that no one tells you about. This is the price of resurrection. Chapter 4. The Law of Sacrifice. You cannot hold the old life and the new life in the same hands. This is not a metaphor. This is physics. Your life has a certain carrying capacity. Your time, your energy, your attention, your resources, all finite. To make room for the new, you must release the old, not theoretically, not eventually. Now, completely. The law of sacrifice is simple. Whatever you refuse to burn will burn you. Most people fail at transformation, not because they do not want to change, but because they want to change without losing anything. They want the new body while keeping the old diet. They want the new income while keeping the old work ethic. They want the new relationships while keeping the old boundaries. They want to be someone else while doing everything the same. This is magical thinking. This is asking for resurrection without death. The phoenix does not selectively burn certain feathers while keeping others. It does not preserve its favorite parts. It consumes itself entirely, holding back nothing. This is why the phoenix can rise, because there is nothing left of the old form to weigh it down. It is pure ash, and from pure ash, pure form can emerge. But if you hold back even one piece of the old bird, the resurrection fails. You get a chimera, a monstrous hybrid that is neither old nor new, but something broken in between. So the question is not whether you will sacrifice. The question is what? And the answer is everything that does not serve the new man. This requires brutal inventory. Look at your life right now, your friendships, your habits, your environment, your possessions, your routines, your beliefs, your stories. Ask yourself with cold honesty, does this belong to the old man or the new man? If it belongs to the old man, it must go. Start with the obvious. The toxic friend who drags you into drama every time you speak. The job that drains your soul even though it pays the bills. The relationship that is held together by guilt and history rather than love and growth. These are the low-hanging fruit. You know they need to go. You have known for a long time. But you have been negotiating with yourself, finding reasons why you must keep them. Those reasons are the old man speaking. But sacrifice goes deeper than removing the obviously toxic. It also means removing the comfortable. The friend who is not toxic, but who knows you as the old man and cannot see you as anything else. The hobby you have invested years in, but that no longer brings you joy. The city you have lived in forever, but that keeps you locked in old patterns. These are harder to release because they are not actively harming you, they are just passively limiting you. But passive limitation is still limitation. Then there is the subtlest level of sacrifice, the internal. The victim story you have told yourself for years, the identity as someone who has been wronged, who has had it harder than others, who deserves sympathy. This story has served you. It has given you attention. It has excused your lack of progress. It has made you interesting at parties. But it is also the story that keeps you small. And if you are serious about resurrection, the victim story must burn. This is where most people balk. They are willing to change their external circumstances. They are willing to cut off toxic people and quit dead-end jobs, but they are not willing to let go of their cherished grievances. They want to be the hero of their new story, while still playing the victim in their old one. This does not work. You cannot be both. You must choose. The law of sacrifice demands that you inventory your suffering and ask, what am I getting from this? Because if you are still suffering from something that happened years ago, you are getting something from it. Maybe it is an excuse. Maybe it is an identity. Maybe it is a way to avoid responsibility. Whatever it is payment for staying small, and that payment must be refused. Sacrifice also means letting go of certain pleasures. Not because pleasure is bad, but because some pleasures are designed to keep you sedated. The nightly wine that helps you unwind but leaves you foggy every morning. The hours of scrolling that relax you but steal your creative energy. The junk food that comforts you but destroys your body. These are not pleasures, these are anesthetics. And the new man does not need anesthesia because he is not trying to escape from his life. The hardest sacrifice is often the one that looks like security. The stable paycheck from the job you hate. The familiar routine that keeps you safely mediocre. The relationship that is not fulfilling but at least is not lonely. These feel like safety, but they are actually prisons. They are the devil's bargain. Comfort in exchange for your potential. The new man does not make this bargain. He trades comfort for possibility, certainty for growth, safety for aliveness. When you begin the process of sacrifice, you will encounter tremendous resistance. Your mind will generate endless reasons why you should wait, why you should be strategic, why you should phase things out gradually. This is the ego's final defense. It knows that once you start burning things, the fire may not stop, so it tries to convince you to be reasonable, to be patient, to be smart. Do not listen. Reasonable has kept you exactly where you are. Sacrifice must be done with ritual. This is not about throwing things away carelessly. This is about conscious release. When you end a friendship, do it with a conversation or a letter. Acknowledge what that person meant to you and why it is time to part. When you quit a job, do it with clarity and professionalism. When you eliminate a habit, mark the occasion. Ceremony makes the subconscious understand that this is permanent. Physical sacrifice is powerful. Get rid of clothes that belong to the old man. Delete phone numbers. Throw out mementos. Clear your space of artifacts from the old life. This is not about erasing your past. This is about creating a vacuum that the new life can fill. Nature abhors a vacuum. Once you create space, something will rush in to fill it. Make sure you have cleared enough space for what you actually want. But here is the paradox. You do not know what you actually want yet. The new man is still forming. So how do you know what to sacrifice? You use a simple test. Does this make me feel expanded or contracted? Does this pull me toward the person I am becoming or the person I was? Does this energize me or drain me? Your body knows the difference. Trust it. Some sacrifices will feel like relief. Finally, permission to let go of what you have been dragging around for years. Other sacrifices will feel like grief. Even though you know something must go, losing it still hurts. Let yourself grieve, but do not let grief become an excuse to hold on. You can mourn something while still releasing it. You can honor what it gave you while acknowledging that it no longer serves you. The law of sacrifice has a corollary. What you refuse to sacrifice will be taken from you anyway, just in a more painful way. If you refuse to end the toxic relationship, it will explode messily. If you refuse to quit the soul-crushing job, you will be fired or have a breakdown. If you refuse to release the victim story, life will give you new reasons to feel victimized. The universe is efficient. It will arrange your sacrifices for you if you do not arrange them yourself. But its method is trauma. Yours can be choice. After the sacrificing, there is space. empty space. This is terrifying to the part of you that equates fullness with safety. But this space is sacred. This is the fertile void. This is where the new can take root. If you fill the space too quickly with replacements from the old life, you have wasted the sacrifice. Let the space remain empty for a while. Let yourself feel the lightness of having less. The new man does not need as much as the old man did because he is not trying to fill internal holes with external things. The final sacrifice is the hardest, your right to complain about your life. Once you understand that your life is the result of your choices and that you have the power to make different choices, you lose the luxury of victimhood. You can no longer blame your past, your parents, your circumstances, or your bad luck. You are the architect now. And architects do not complain about buildings. They demolish them and build new ones. This is your burden now. And also, your freedom. Chapter 5. Constructing the Avatar. The old house is demolished. The land is cleared. Now comes the most exciting and terrifying phase, building from nothing. You have a blank blueprint. You can design anything. There are no constraints except the ones you choose to impose. This is not self-discovery. This is self-creation. You are not uncovering who you truly are. You are deciding who you will become. Begin with the end in mind, not vague aspirations like I want to be happy or I want to be successful. Those are not identities. Those are states. You need to construct a complete character, a fully realized person who exists in your imagination with such clarity that you could describe them to a stranger in detail. This character is your avatar, the new man you are building to inhabit. Start with the physical. How does the avatar move through space? What is their posture? Do they walk quickly or slowly? Do they take up space or minimize themselves? How do they make eye contact? What is their default facial expression? These details matter because your body shapes your psychology. The avatar's physicality must be different from the old man's. If the old man slouched and avoided eye contact, the avatar stands straight and meets gazes directly. Embody the change, then move to the mental. What does the avatar believe about themselves, about the world, about what is possible? The avatar cannot carry the old man's limiting beliefs. If the old man believed he was not smart enough, the avatar believes intelligence is developed through effort. If the old man believed the world was hostile, the avatar believes the world is neutral and navigable. You are installing new software. Make sure it is an upgrade. Define the avatar's values. What does this person care about? What will they tolerate? What will they refuse? Values create boundaries, and boundaries create structure. The old man had weak boundaries or the wrong boundaries. The avatar's boundaries must be clear and non-negotiable. This is not about becoming rigid. This is about becoming defined. You cannot be everything. Choose what you will be. Now the emotional landscape. How does the avatar process emotion? The old man might have suppressed anger and drowned in sadness. The avatar feels anger cleanly and expresses it appropriately. The avatar allows sadness without being consumed by it. You are redesigning your emotional operating system. Make it robust. Make it resilient. Make it capable of handling the full spectrum of human experience without breaking. Consider the avatar's daily rituals. How do they start their day? What is their relationship to food, to movement, to rest? These are not trivial details. These are the infrastructure of the new identity. The old man had rituals, even if they were unconscious. Wake up, check phone, feel anxious, drink coffee, go through motions. The avatar's rituals must be intentional. They must be designed to reinforce the identity you are building. What does the avatar do for work? This is critical because work takes up the majority of waking hours. The avatar's work must align with their values and leverage their strengths. It cannot be something the avatar tolerates. It must be something the avatar chooses. Even if the external circumstances cannot change immediately, the internal relationship to the work must change. The avatar is not a victim of their job. They are someone leveraging a current position to build towards something else. How does the avatar relate to others? What kind of people do they surround themselves with? The old man might have accepted anyone who gave them attention. The avatar is selective. The avatar understands that they become the average of the 5 people they spend the most time with, so they choose those 5 with care. The avatar is not lonely. The avatar is discerning. Define the avatar's relationship to money. The old man might have been anxious about money, resentful of those who had it, convinced that wanting it was shallow. The avatar sees money as a tool, a form of energy that can be directed. The avatar is neither greedy nor averse. The avatar is strategic. They understand that money is not the goal, but it enables the goal, and they pursue it without apology or shame. What is the avatar's aesthetic? How do they dress? What does their living space look like? Aesthetic is not superficial. Aesthetic is the external expression of internal state. The old man's aesthetic might have been whatever is comfortable or whatever is cheap. The avatar's aesthetic is intentional. It reflects who they are becoming. You do not need money for this. You need clarity. Even second-hand clothes can be worn with intention. Here is the crucial point. The avatar must be aspirational but achievable. You cannot design an avatar that is so far from your current state that your subconscious rejects it as fantasy. If the old man was 300 pounds and sedentary, the avatar cannot be a professional athlete. That gap is too large to bridge psychologically. But the avatar can be someone who moves their body daily and respects their physical form. That is believable. That is achievable. Build the bridge you can actually walk across. The avatar must also be integrated, not fragmented. You cannot be a ruthless business person at work and a doormat at home. You cannot be disciplined about fitness and undisciplined about finances. The avatar is a coherent whole. The person they are in public is the person they are in private. This integrity is what gives the avatar power. The old man was fragmented, playing different roles in different contexts. The avatar is consistent. As you construct the avatar, write everything down. Create a document that describes this person in detail. What they believe, how they act, what they value, what they refuse, how they show up, how they relate. This document is your blueprint. You will refer to it daily, especially in the beginning, when the avatar still feels foreign. You will ask yourself in moments of decision, what would the avatar do? And you will do that thing, even if it feels uncomfortable. This is where the magic happens. You begin to act as if you are already the avatar. Not someday, not when you feel ready, now. You walk with the avatar's posture. You speak with the avatar's confidence. You make decisions with the avatar's values. At first it feels like pretending. This is normal. You are pretending, but the pretending is the path. The actor who repeatedly plays a role begins to absorb that role's characteristics. You are method acting your new identity into existence. The subconscious cannot distinguish between real and vividly imagined. If you act as the avatar consistently enough, your subconscious begins to accept that this is who you are. The neural pathways start to form. The behaviors start to feel natural. The identity starts to solidify. What began as performance becomes personality. This is not fake it till you make it. This is architect it till you become it. But you must be consistent. If you spend 6 days embodying the avatar and 1 day reverting to the old man, you confuse the subconscious. It does not know which identity is real. You must commit fully. This means that every interaction, every decision, every moment is an opportunity to be the avatar. There are no breaks. There is no, I'll start fresh on Monday. The avatar is now. The avatar is always now. This is exhausting at first. Holding a new identity is like holding a yoga pose. Your muscles shake. You want to collapse back into the old, comfortable position. But just like the yoga pose, if you hold it long enough, it becomes easier. The muscles adapt. The position becomes familiar. Eventually, it becomes effortless. The avatar becomes who you are, not who you are trying to be. As you embody the avatar, you will notice opportunities appearing that were invisible to the old man. This is not magic. This is selective attention. Your brain filters reality based on your identity. The old man's brain filtered out opportunities because they did not fit his self-concept. The avatar's brain notices them because they align with his self-concept. Same world, different filter, different results. The construction of the avatar is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing process. As you live as the avatar, you will discover aspects that need refinement, behaviors that do not fit, beliefs that need updating. This is fine. The avatar is a living entity, not a static sculpture. Allow it to evolve, but always evolve intentionally, not accidentally. You are the architect, not the accident. The goal is to reach a point where the avatar no longer feels like a role you are playing. It feels like who you are. You no longer have to think about it. You no longer have to consciously choose the avatar's response. It becomes automatic. This is integration. This is when the new man stops being new and simply becomes you. Chapter 6. The Imposter Period. You are wearing the new skin, but it does not fit yet. It is stiff. It chafes. You catch yourself moving in the old ways and have to consciously correct. You speak with the avatar's voice, but it sounds rehearsed. You make decisions based on the avatar's values, but they feel forced. This is the imposter period, and it is the most dangerous phase of the entire transformation. More people quit here than anywhere else. The voice is loud and persistent. Who do you think you are? This is not you. You are pretending. People can see through you. You are a fraud. The voice has evidence. It reminds you of every failure, every past version of yourself that contradicts the person you are trying to become. It points out the gap between who you are being and who you have been, and it tells you that this gap is proof that you are lying. But here is the truth the voice does not want you to understand. Everyone is an imposter when they are learning something new. The first time you rode a bike, you were an imposter cyclist. The first day at a new job, you were an imposter employee. The first time you tried a new skill, you were an imposter practitioner. Being an imposter is not a sign that you should quit. It is a sign that you are growing. It is a sign that you are expanding beyond your comfort zone into competence. The imposter period exists because there is always a gap between declaration and embodiment. You declare yourself to be the avatar, but your nervous system has not caught up yet. Your body is still wired for the old man. Your reflexes are still his reflexes. Your automatic responses are still his responses. The conscious mind has updated, but the subconscious is still running the old program. This mismatch creates the feeling of fraudulence. Understand that this feeling is temporary. Neuroplasticity is real. Your brain rewires itself based on repeated experience. Every time you act as the avatar, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with that identity. Every time you resist acting as the old man, you weaken those pathways. This is not mystical, this is biology. But biology takes time. The brain does not rewire overnight. You must be patient with the process. During the imposter period, you will be hyper-aware of your own performance. You will analyze every interaction, wondering if you did it right, if you were convincing, if anyone noticed that you were faking. This self-consciousness is exhausting. It makes everything feel effortful. But this too is temporary. As the avatar becomes more natural, the self-consciousness fades. You stop monitoring yourself constantly because you are no longer performing. You are simply being. The key to surviving the imposter period is to expect it and not interpret it as failure. When the voice says you are a fraud, you reply yes, and that is exactly where I should be right now. When you feel uncomfortable in the new identity, you say, good, that means I am stretching. When you catch yourself slipping back into old patterns, you simply correct without judgment. The imposter period is not a problem to solve. It is a phase to endure. One of the most insidious aspects of the imposter period is the fear of being exposed. You worry that someone who knew the old man will call you out. They will say, this is not who you are, or what happened to you, or you have changed. And they will say it like it is an accusation. This fear is legitimate, because it will probably happen. People who knew the old man will resist the avatar, because the avatar disrupts their understanding of who you are. When this happens, you have two choices. You can defend yourself, explaining why you have changed, justifying your transformation, seeking their approval. This is a trap. It puts you in the position of asking permission to be who you are becoming, or you can simply hold the boundary. Yes, I have changed. No explanation, no justification, no apology. Let them be uncomfortable with it. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. The imposter period is also when old temptations resurface with particular intensity. The habits you thought you had left behind suddenly seem appealing again. The relationships you severed seem worth revisiting. The life you demolished seems not so bad in hindsight. This is the ego's final gambit. It is offering you an easy way out of the discomfort. "Just come back," it whispers. "It was not that bad. At least it was real. At least you were not pretending." Do not take the bait. Recognize this for what it is, the death throes of the old man. He is not fully dead yet. Some part of him remains in your nervous system, in your muscle memory, in your subconscious, and that part is fighting for survival by making the old life seem more attractive than it was. This is revisionist history. This is nostalgia as a weapon. Do not believe it. Instead, use the discomfort as information. Every time you feel like an imposter, you are receiving data about where the transformation is still incomplete. If you feel fake when you assert boundaries, it means your boundary setting needs more practice. If you feel fake when you speak confidently, it means your confidence needs more reinforcement. The discomfort shows you where to focus your effort. Practice in low-stakes environments. If the avatar is confident and you feel like an imposter when being confident, practice with strangers or in situations that do not matter. Order your coffee with the avatar's confidence. Walk down the street with the avatar's posture. Have conversations with store clerks as the avatar. These small interactions are where the new identity gets rehearsed without high risk. You are practicing the character before you perform it on the big stage. Over time, something shifts. You will have moments where you forget to monitor yourself and you simply act, and later you realize you acted as the avatar without thinking about it. These moments are gold. These are proof that the integration is happening. The conscious effort is beginning to become unconscious competence. Mark these moments. Celebrate them. They are the first signs that the imposter period is ending. You will also notice that the voice gets quieter. It does not disappear, but it loses its power. Where it once could stop you in your tracks with a single accusation of fraudulence, now it is background noise that you can acknowledge and dismiss. Yes, this still feels new. So what? The voice remains, but your relationship to it changes. You stop believing it has authority over your actions. The length of the imposter period varies. Some people move through it in weeks. Others need months. A few need years, though if it is lasting years, it usually means they are not committing fully. They are dipping a toe in the water rather than diving in. Full commitment accelerates the process. Half-hearted commitment prolongs it indefinitely. Toward the end of the imposter period, you will experience something profound. Someone will treat you as the avatar without hesitation. They will not see the old man at all. They will interact with you as if you have always been the person you are now becoming. This is staggering. This is external confirmation that the identity is working, that it is believable, that it is real. This moment is a milestone. But do not become dependent on external validation. The goal is not to convince others. The goal is to convince yourself. Others will catch up eventually. What matters is that you continue showing up as the avatar, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when the voice is loud, even when you are certain you are failing. Consistency is the key. Repetition is the method. Time is the ally. The imposter period ends not with a dramatic revelation, but with a quiet realization. One day you will notice that you have not thought about whether you were being authentic in a while. You have not worried about whether you were faking it. You have simply been living. And who you have been living as is the avatar. The role has become the reality. The performance has become the person. The imposter period is over. Integration is complete. Chapter 7. Environment as a mold. You cannot heal in the same environment where you got sick. This is not a suggestion. This is law. Your environment is not neutral. It is actively shaping you every moment. The room you wake up in, the route you take to work, the people you see daily, the sounds you hear, the sights you absorb, all of it is programming your subconscious. If the environment remains the same while you attempt to change, you are rowing upstream against a powerful current. The old man was shaped by his environment. his beliefs, his habits, his identity, all of it was molded by the spaces he occupied and the people he surrounded himself with. Even if you have killed the old man internally, if you remain in his environment, the environment will resurrect him. It will trigger old neural pathways. It will remind your body of old patterns. It will seduce you back into familiar roles. The environment has its own memory. This is why people relapse. An addict gets clean in rehab, then returns home to the same apartment where they used, the same friends who use, the same streets where they bought. The internal change was real, but the external environment overwhelms it. Within days or weeks they are using again, not because they were not committed, but because the environment is a more powerful programmer than willpower. Your environment must reflect the avatar, not the old man. This requires deliberate action. Start with your physical space. Look at your home. Does it belong to the person you are becoming or the person you were? The old man's clutter, his decorations, his arrangement of furniture, these must be dismantled. You are not just rearranging, you are exorcising. Every object in your space is a vote for an identity. Make sure you are voting for the right one. Cleanliness is not optional. The old man might have lived in chaos because internal chaos manifested externally. The avatar cannot afford this. A clean space creates mental clarity. It signals to the subconscious that you are someone who has their life in order, even if you do not yet feel that way. The external order creates internal order. This is not about aesthetics. This is about psychological architecture. Color matters. Light matters. The old man's space might have been dim and drab. The avatar's space should have natural light if possible. Bright environments increase serotonin. They make it harder to be depressed. Even small changes like opening curtains or adding lamps alter the mood of a space significantly. You are designing an environment that supports the person you are becoming, not the person you were. Now consider your social environment. This is harder because it involves people and people have feelings. But the truth is absolute. You must change who you spend time with. The 5 people you spend the most time with determine who you become. This is not theory. This is observed reality. If those 5 people are negative, broke, unmotivated, or toxic, you will become some version of that no matter how hard you fight it. This does not mean you must be cruel. You do not need to announce to everyone that they are holding you back, but you do need to create distance, become less available, respond less enthusiastically. Let certain relationships fade through natural attrition. Simultaneously, seek out new people who embody the qualities you are building. Join groups. Attend events. Position yourself in proximity to people who are where you want to be. Your digital environment is as important as your physical one. What you consume shapes you. If you are scrolling through social media feeds full of drama, comparison, and negativity, that is programming your subconscious with every swipe. If you are watching content that reinforces the old man's worldview, you are feeding the identity you are trying to kill. Curate your inputs ruthlessly. Unfollow. Unsubscribe. Block. Your attention is too valuable to give away carelessly. Replace the old inputs with intentional ones. If the avatar is a person who reads, fill your environment with books. If the avatar is a person who creates, fill your environment with tools and materials. If the avatar is a person who values health, make healthy food the easiest option and junk food the hardest. Your environment should make the desired behavior the path of least resistance. Willpower is limited. Environment is constant. Even your route matters. If you take the same route to work that you have taken for years, you are triggering the same neural pathways. Change the route. Drive a different way. Walk a different path. Shop at different stores. Break the geographical patterns that anchor you to the old identity. Every familiar place is a trigger. New places allow new behaviors. Clothing is environment. The old man had a wardrobe. It needs to go. Not all at once if resources do not allow, but systematically. Replace pieces intentionally. The avatar dresses differently, not because they are trying to impress anyone, but because clothing is a signal to the self about who you are. When you put on clothes that belong to the avatar, you step into that identity more fully. When you put on clothes that belong to the old man, you step back into him. Consider sound. What is the ambient noise in your life? Is it news broadcasts filling you with fear? Is it aggressive music keeping you agitated? Is it silence so complete that your thoughts echo and amplify? The avatar needs a soundscape that supports focus, creativity, or calm, depending on what you are building. Curate your audio environment with the same care you curate your physical one. Smell is deeply tied to memory. The old man's environment probably had a smell, even if you did not notice it. Change it. New scents, whether through cleaning products, candles, or natural means, signal to the brain that this is a different space. Smell bypasses the conscious mind and goes straight to the limbic system. Use this pathway to reinforce the change. Temperature and texture matter. The old man might have tolerated discomfort or numbed himself to it. The avatar is attuned to his physical experience. Make your environment comfortable in intentional ways. This is not about luxury. This is about creating a space where the avatar feels at home. When your body feels safe and comfortable in a space, your mind can focus on growth rather than survival. If you cannot change your physical environment completely, change parts of it symbolically. Rearrange furniture so the room feels unfamiliar. Put the bed on a different wall. Sit in a different chair. Use different dishes. These small disruptions prevent the autopilot that allows the old man to slip back in. The avatar needs a new stage. Even subtle changes to the set create a different performance. The hardest environmental change is often work. If your job is toxic, soul-crushing, or deeply tied to the old man's identity, it must be changed eventually. But this is not always immediate. In the meantime, change what you can. The route to work, the clothes you wear there, the way you engage with co-workers. Even small shifts in how you show up to work can create enough separation that the environment does not totally overwhelm the new identity. Finally, recognize that environment includes the information you expose yourself to. What you read, what you watch, what you listen to, who you follow online, all of it is shaping you. The old man consumed certain content that reinforced his worldview. The avatar needs different content. Seek out material that challenges you, inspires you, educates you in the direction you are growing. Be aggressive about cutting out material that pulls you backward. Environment is not passive. It is a living force that either supports your transformation or undermines it. You cannot leave it to chance. You must design it deliberately. Every element of your environment is a vote for who you are becoming. Make sure each vote counts. Make sure each element of your space, your social circle, your digital life, your daily patterns is aligned with the avatar. When the environment supports the change becomes inevitable. Chapter 8. The Test of the Ghosts. Just when you think you have successfully transformed, just when the new identity begins to feel natural, the ghosts arrive. They come in familiar forms, an ex who texts out of nowhere, a bill from the past that resurfaces, an old friend who invites you back into old patterns, a situation that perfectly mirrors something the old man struggled with. These are not coincidences. These are tests. The universe is checking to see if the old man is truly dead or just sleeping. The ghosts are not malicious, they are mechanical. They are the natural result of patterns set in motion by the old man. Those patterns have momentum. They do not stop immediately just because you have changed internally. They continue to play out until they exhaust themselves or until you definitively break them. The ghosts are the final echoes of a life you have left behind. How you respond to them determines whether the transformation is real or temporary. The first thing to understand about the ghosts is that they will be triggering. They are designed to be. They show up at precisely the moment when you have become comfortable in the new identity. They arrive when your guard is down. They appear in forms that used to have power over you. An ex who used to devastate you with a single text. A parent who used to undermine you with a single comment. A financial crisis that used to send you into panic. The ghost knows where you were weak. It goes directly for that spot. Your response is everything. If you react with the old emotion, the old fear, the old anger, you resurrect the old man. The ghost will see this and know that nothing has truly changed. It will dig in. It will become more persistent. But if you react with indifference, with calm, with the avatar's energy, the ghost fades. It has no anchor point. It cannot grab hold of someone who is not there anymore. This is why the ghosts are a test. They are measuring whether the change is surface or structural. The old man would have panicked at the unexpected bill. The avatar handles it calmly and strategically. The old man would have been tempted by the ex's message. The avatar deletes it without emotional charge. The old man would have been triggered by the toxic friend's invitation. The avatar declines politely and moves on. Each of these moments is an opportunity to prove to yourself and to the universe that the old man is truly gone. Expect multiple ghosts. They rarely come alone. Often they arrive in clusters, as if the universe is stress testing the new identity. You will have a week where everything from the past seems to resurface at once. This is not bad luck. This is the final purge. All the loose ends from the old life are appearing so you can tie them off or cut them clean. This is the fire that burns away any remaining attachment to who you were. Some ghosts come disguised as opportunities. An offer that looks good on the surface but would pull you back into old patterns. A chance to reconnect with someone from the past who was toxic but who you miss. A shortcut that would get you what you want faster but would compromise the avatar's values. These are the most dangerous ghosts because they do not look like threats. They look like gifts, but they are traps. The way to identify a ghost disguised as an opportunity is to check in with your body. The old man operated from the head. The avatar operates from the gut. If something feels off, even if you cannot articulate why, trust that feeling. The body remembers what the mind forgets. If an opportunity makes your stomach tighten or your chest constrict, it is probably a ghost. Real opportunities aligned with the avatar will feel like expansion, not contraction. Some ghosts are internal. They are not external events, but internal states. A sudden wave of depression that feels like the old depression. A burst of anxiety that feels like the old anxiety. A day where you wake up and feel exactly like the old man, as if the transformation never happened. These are psychological ghosts, the residual patterns in your nervous system flaring up one last time. They are checking to see if they still have power. When an internal ghost arrives, do not panic. Do not interpret it as regression. It is not. It is the final test of the internal transformation. The old man would have spiraled from this feeling. The avatar notices it, names it, and lets it pass without attaching to it. This is an echo. This is not who I am anymore. The ghost loses power the moment you refuse to identify with it. The most painful ghosts are the ones that involve people you care about. A family member who refuses to see you as anyone other than the old man. A friend who only related to you in the old dynamic and cannot adjust to the new one. These relationships may not survive the transformation. This is the hidden cost no one talks about. Some people can only love the version of you that needed them in a certain way. When you stop needing them like that, they leave or lash out. You cannot control how others respond to your transformation. You can only control how you respond to their response. If someone cannot accept the avatar, that is information. They are choosing their comfort over your growth. This is their right, but it is also your right to choose your growth over their comfort. Let them go if they will not stay. The avatar does not shrink to make others comfortable. There will also be ghosts that appear as self-sabotage. You will have an impulse to do something that would destroy everything you have built. Quit the job you fought to get. Blow up the relationship that is finally healthy. Spend money you have worked hard to save. This impulse is the old man's suicide mission. He knows he is dying and he wants to take everything down with him. Do not let him. Recognize the impulse. Name it. Let it pass. Do not act on it. The ghost period is finite. The ghosts will come, they will test you, and then they will fade. But they must be allowed to fade. You cannot fight them. Fighting gives them energy. You cannot run from them. Running proves they still have power. You must simply stand still, acknowledge their presence, and refuse to engage. This is the energy of the avatar. Calm, unmoved, present but untouchable. Each ghost you pass without reacting strengthens the new identity. Each time you respond as the avatar instead of the old man, you cement the transformation. The neural pathways deepen, the identity solidifies. You are proving to your subconscious that the change is real. You are showing the universe that the old man is truly dead, not just dormant. The final ghost is often the most subtle. It is the voice in your head that says, maybe the old life was not so bad. Maybe you overreacted. Maybe you should go back. This is nostalgia weaponized. This is the mind trying to create a bridge back to the familiar. Do not cross that bridge. It leads nowhere you want to go. The old life was exactly as bad as you remember. That is why you burned it down. When you have passed all the ghosts, there is a shift. The old life stops calling to you. The old patterns stop having pull. The old identity stops trying to reassert itself. You are free. The past no longer has claim on you. The old man is finally, completely, irrevocably dead. And the avatar stands alone, uncontested, fully integrated. This is victory. This is resurrection. This is what you have been working toward. Chapter 9. The unrecognizable self. The goal of this entire process is estrangement. Not from others, though that may be a side effect, but from yourself. You want to reach a point where you look at who you used to be and do not recognize them. Where you see old photos and they feel like pictures of a stranger. Where someone tells a story about something you did years ago and you cannot connect emotionally to that person. This dissociation is not pathology. This is the sign of successful transformation. Most people fear this. They want to change, but they also want to maintain continuity with their past. They want to be better while still being recognizably themselves, but this is the trap. If you are still recognizable to your old self, you have not changed enough. You have renovated, not demolished. True transformation requires becoming someone that your former self would not understand, might not like, might even resent. The unrecognizable self is the avatar fully embodied. There is no distance between the role and the reality. You are not performing the new identity. You are the new identity. It has become automatic, unconscious, effortless. You do not think about what the avatar would do because you are the avatar. The character you constructed has become your character. The architecture has become the structure. This manifests in strange ways. You will have preferences you did not have before. Foods you used to love will taste wrong. Music you used to enjoy will grate. Activities you used to do for fun will bore you. This is not fickleness. This is the natural result of identity shift. Your preferences were never really yours. They belong to the old man. The avatar has different preferences because he is a different person. Your risk tolerance changes. Things that terrified the old man no longer register as threats. Things the old man thought were safe now feel like traps. The avatar operates from a different threat assessment system. This is why people who undergo deep transformation often seem reckless to those who knew them before. They are not being reckless, they are operating from a different calibration of danger and possibility. Your relationships reconfigure entirely. People who were central to your life become peripheral or disappear. People you barely knew become intimate. This is not about disloyalty, this is about alignment. The old man attracted people who resonated with his frequency. The avatar attracts people who resonate with his. As the frequency changes, the audience changes. This is natural. This is necessary. You will also notice that you cannot fake the old personality anymore, even if you try. Sometimes social situations require you to interact with people from the old life. You might think you can slip back into the old persona for an evening to keep the peace, but you will find you cannot do it. The mask does not fit anymore. The performance feels impossible. This is good. This means the integration is complete. The old man is so dead that you cannot resurrect him even temporarily. The unrecognizable self has a different relationship to time. The old man was haunted by the past and anxious about the future. The avatar exists more fully in the present, not because he has achieved some Zen state, but because he is not carrying the weight of a past identity. The past belongs to someone else. The avatar has his own history, but it is short. He is young, even if the body is not. This creates a lightness, an openness, a sense of possibility that the old man never had. Your values and beliefs become non-negotiable. The old man had values he claimed to hold, but violated constantly under pressure. The avatar's values are structural. They are not ideals. They are identity. Violating them would be like trying to breathe underwater. It is not something you have to resist. It is something that is impossible. This is the difference between willpower and integration. The avatar does not use willpower to maintain his values. He is his values. Money and success and external markers begin to shift dramatically. This is not because the avatar is inherently more capable than the old man. It is because the avatar is not sabotaging himself. The old man had hidden resistance to success based on unworthiness. The avatar has no such resistance. He believes he deserves success, so success becomes easier to achieve and maintain. The external world responds to the internal shift. People will tell you that you have changed, and they will not always mean it as a compliment. You are not the person I knew. Correct. You have become so different. Correct. I do not even recognize you anymore. Perfect. These statements are confirmation that the work is complete. If people who knew the old man can still see him in you, you are not done. When they look at you and see a stranger, you have succeeded. You will experience moments of vertigo. You will be going through your day and suddenly become aware of how different you are. You will remember how you used to think, how you used to feel, how you used to operate, and it will seem impossible that you were ever that person. This disorientation is healthy. It is the psychological equivalent of looking down from a great height and realizing how far you have climbed. The unrecognizable self is not static. You do not reach this point and then stop. The avatar continues to evolve, but the evolution is now from a solid foundation rather than from rot. You are building on stone instead of sand. Each iteration of growth is stable because the base is stable. The old man could not grow because he was built on a crumbling foundation. The avatar grows because he was built correctly from the start. Your relationship to failure changes completely. The old man was destroyed by failure. It confirmed his worst beliefs about himself. The avatar treats failure as data. Something did not work. Adjust. Try again. There is no identity threat in failure, because the avatar's identity is not based on never failing. It is based on never quitting. This mindset shift alone makes success inevitable, given enough time. You will also find that you stop seeking validation. The old man needed others to confirm his worth because he did not believe in it himself. The avatar knows his worth. External validation is nice, but not necessary. This makes you incredibly dangerous in the best possible way. You cannot be manipulated through approval or disapproval. You cannot be controlled through acceptance or rejection. You are sovereign. The unrecognizable self has peace. Not the peace of having arrived, but the peace of being aligned. You are no longer at war with yourself. The internal conflict that defined the old man's existence is gone. You might still have challenges, stress, difficulties, but they are external. Internally, there is coherence. You are moving in one direction with all parts of yourself. This integration is what people sense as charisma or presence. You are no longer fragmented. When you reach this point, you will understand that everything you went through was necessary. The funeral, the void, the sacrifice, the imposter period, the environmental changes, the ghosts, all of it was required to get here. You could not have skipped steps. You could not have taken shortcuts. The process was the point. The unrecognizable self is not a destination you reached. It is the person you became through the journey. The final sign that you have become the unrecognizable self is that you stop looking for signs. You stop checking to see if you have changed enough. You stop comparing yourself to who you were. You simply live. The transformation is so complete that it no longer needs to be thought about. You are the avatar. The avatar is you. There is no distinction. There is only presence moving forward, building, creating, living. The old man is forgotten. The new man is real. The fire has done its work. Epilogue. The fire is your friend. You have walked through the fire. You have allowed yourself to burn. You have endured the heat that most people run from. And now you stand on the other side, unrecognizable to who you were, fully realized as who you are becoming. This is the great work. This is what few attempt and fewer complete. You have done what most people only fantasize about. You have killed your old self and built a new one from ash, Understand that the fire is not your enemy. It never was. The fire burns only what is false, the lies you told yourself, the stories you inherited, the identity you constructed to survive when you were powerless. All of that was flammable. All of that was meant to burn. The truth of who you are, the core beneath the conditioning that cannot burn. That is fireproof. The fire merely revealed it. This is why transformation is painful. Not because you are losing something real, but because you are attached to the false. You have spent years or decades building a self that was never authentic. That self was a survival mechanism, a protective shell, a character you played to navigate a hostile world. And when you put that character into the fire, it screams. It fights. It tries to convince you that it is you, that destroying it is suicide. But it is lying. Destroying it is liberation. The ashes of the old man are what remain after the burning. They are not nothing. They are the raw material of the new. Ash is fertile. It enriches soil. It allows new growth. The old man had to die completely so that the new man could be born from his remains. This is not metaphor. This is psychological chemistry. You cannot build a new identity on top of an old one. You must reduce the old one to ash first. Some people will read this and think it is extreme. They will insist that you can change through gentler methods, through affirmations and gradual improvement and self-compassion. And for small changes, perhaps they are right. But if you are here, reading this, you do not want small changes. You want total transformation. And total transformation requires total demolition. There is no gentle way to burn down a house. The fire will come for you whether you light it yourself or not. Life has a way of burning what needs to burn. The question is whether you do it intentionally or whether it is done to you. If you wait for life to do it, it will be traumatic. It will be a crisis. It will feel like death. But if you light the fire yourself, if you walk into it consciously, you control the process. You choose what burns. You direct the transformation. This audiobook has given you the tools, the funeral ritual to mark the end, the void to incubate the new, the law of sacrifice to clear space, the avatar to construct the replacement, the imposter period to endure the transition, the environment to reinforce the change, the ghosts to test the transformation, the unrecognizable self to confirm the completion. These are the stages. These are the steps. Walk them in order. Do not skip, do not rush. But also understand that this is not a one-time process. The fire is not something you go through once and then you are done. Life is constant change. What serves you today may need to burn tomorrow. The avatar you are building now may need to die in 5 years to make room for the next evolution. This is not failure. This is growth. The process of creative destruction never ends. You simply become better at it. Each time you burn, you become more refined. The first burning is violent and chaotic. You do not know what you are doing. You are just trying to survive. The second burning is more controlled. You recognize the pattern. You know what to expect. By the third or fourth, you are a master of the fire. You can walk into it without fear. You can burn what needs to burn without collapsing. You become the phoenix, not once, but perpetually. This is the secret that no one teaches. Self-improvement is not about adding. It is about subtracting. It is about burning away everything that is not essential until only the essential remains. Most people are buried under layers of false self. They are not living their lives. They are living the lives they were programmed to live. The fire strips away the programming. It reveals what was always underneath. When you emerge from the fire, people will be drawn to you. They will not know why. They will say you have presence or energy or charisma. What they are actually sensing is integration. You are no longer fragmented. You are no longer at war with yourself. All of your power, which was previously spent maintaining the false self, is now available for creation. This makes you magnetic. This makes you dangerous. This makes you free. The old man is dead. You held his funeral. You burned his eulogy. You scattered his ashes. He will never return. Grieve him if you need to, but do not resurrect him. He had his time. He got you to this moment. That is his gift. His final gift is his absence, which makes room for your presence. The new man is awake. You constructed him intentionally. You embodied him consistently. You tested him thoroughly. He is real now. He is not a performance. He is not a mask. He is who you are, and he is just beginning. Everything you build from here is built from solid ground. Everything you create is created from alignment. Everything you achieve is achieved from power, not desperation. Do not fear the fire. Welcome it. When you feel the heat, when you sense that something in you needs to die, do not run. Walk toward it. Light the match yourself. Be the one who chooses the burning. This is how you maintain sovereignty over your own evolution. This is how you ensure that you are always the architect of yourself, never the accident. The fire is your friend. It only destroys what was never real. Trust the fire. Walk into it. Let it consume you, and rise from the ashes, unrecognizable, transformed, reborn. The old man is dead. Long live the new man.